Hi, everyone. My name is Lydia Henry. I am an osteopathic manual practitioner. I've had the pleasure of treating many of you, and maybe one day we'll be treating some of you. I'm coming to you trying to help a little bit during this little bit of a crazy time that we're in. Let's talk about tips about working from home and how to set up an appropriate desk and work area. Okay, so let's start with what is the best way to sit at a desk. Now, I don't actually have a desk that works best at all, so I'm going to try to create something and give you all the ideas and tips that I can come up with to make your work area safe. And what I mean by safe right now is that your posture is good and that you don't suffer any sort of back pain or neck pain or anything that's going to slow your work down, or something that could develop over time if you are sitting in a wrong position for too long. Okay, so ideally, you are sitting a little bit higher than your keyboard. So your keyboard should be somewhere where your arm is about 90 or a little bit bigger than 90. That would be ideal. You can't see, but my feet are flat on the ground. I'm sitting on a stool here. You're welcome to sit on a chair. And if you do, you can have some back support by throwing a pillow behind there. So ideally, which most of us don't have, is to have our hands here, but yet a monitor up here. Okay? So if you do have that option of attaching your laptop to a monitor, then make sure your monitor is at eye level and not lower, okay? Or obviously too high, all right? The other option is you can grab yourself a Bluetooth keyboard and then take some books and put your laptop at eye level, but yet have your keyboard at the bottom here and be able to continue to work, okay? If your feet aren't touching the ground and aren't flat, then put yourself a little stool. You can use a kitchen stool, you can use a cardboard box, you can use an old binder, whatever it is, but keep your feet flat in front of you. We all tend to want to tuck our feet underneath our chair. What that does is throws our back into an excessive lordosis, so you're really arched, and over time that is going to bother you. Also, we do have a tendency of sitting too long and then squirming in our seats, and what we end up doing is either leaning on one side while we work, right, or sticking a leg underneath our bum to work for a long time. One, this is a cue that you need to get up and walk around because you've been sitting there too long. And secondly, what you're doing is you're shifting your pelvis. If your foot is under your left bum, you're shifting your pelvis the whole time to sit at a wrong angle, which is going to create some issues with your back and your pelvis and lower back issues. Okay? So quick recap. If you can, sit above here, put your hands that they're about 90-degree angle at your elbow. Your feet should be flat in front of you, so it's 90-ish degrees here and 90-ish at your knees. And then hopefully you can have a screen up here. If you can't, what I find helps is if I push my screen away, I can keep my head fairly straight and just my eyes down here, okay? If your screen is really high up, then you're sort of doing this thing where you can see a lot of people doing, and they're using, their eyes sort of and their neck forward like that. And a long period of time doing that is really harmful. So ideal, hands here, and screen up here. If you can get yourself a Bluetooth keyboard, do that, and then use some books and put your laptop at the top here. Make sure you keep your feet flat, not tucked under your bum, and also make sure that if you do have armrests, you're not leaning on one side for too long. You're creating a curvature in your back that is going to be harmful. Now, really resist the urge to sit on your couch to do work. Most of our couches are too soft, and so therefore our back will be sort of curled in there. If you don't have a choice at all, then make sure your back is nice and straight. So add some pillows behind you. Try to add pillows to to your lap in a way that you're still around that same distance for your elbows, around that 90 degrees or so in sitting. Also, avoid sitting in your bed to do work because, again, way too soft. You don't have a place to bend your knees. If you must sit crisscross, that's going to be a bit more helpful. And then putting a pillow behind you, and again, making sure your elbows are at the right angle. And again, try to really stop putting your head down this way for too long. And my last piece of advice is, because we are home, get up and walk around. At an office, you often have to take papers to somebody else's office or have to go to a meeting, and you get up and walk. But because you're home, and if you don't have kids who are pulling you here and there, and you could sit in your office for hours, make sure you put yourself an alarm to get up, walk around, get some fresh air, and then come back to your desk and keep working. I hope this was helpful, and hopefully we see you after all of this is done.